Oh no. Oh, I'm so smart, dude. My freaking brain, dude. I have so many brain cells, dude. You don't even understand right now. I just spit all the frick over my freaking pop filter. I don't freaking give a crap, dude. I'm so freaking smart. I'm so proud of myself right now. Okay? She softly pushed my shoulder. Oh! How's it going, everybody? HoodlaMutt here, back with some more Steins Gate 0. And last time, oh my gosh, so much happened. I don't even know what to say. I literally hit the stop record button and then started it again. My voice is hoarse, but I'm still going because I cannot stop there. There is no way I can stop there. I have to keep going. Freaking Mayuri was sad and blaming herself for everything, and it made me sad. Suzuha got a message from her dad, Daru, in the future, 2025, about that their plan was gonna work and whatnot. Freaking Okabe went to go look for Mayuri after all the cell phone services stopped working, and they had to try and figure out what happened to Amadeus because all of her data was gone. Freaking Suzuha then was jumped. Her and Mayuri were jumped. Suzuha and Mayuri were both jumped by freaking like 30 military people, and they tried to get Suzuha to use the time machine and whatever, and then she fought back and then hid behind the time machine, and then out of nowhere, when everything was about ready to go down because Mayuri got grazed, she got hit by a bullet, but it just grazed her, it didn't kill her. Somehow Kagari apparently saw that, came up onto the roof and freaking slaughtered a ton of the guys there. And then lost her left hand after it got shot off. Yeah, I know. I don't even know what to say. This is insane. This went from Steins Gate to Terminator. This is suddenly freaking Scarface. Freaking Kagari became Tony Montana and just started freaking destroying everything, taking bullets, and not caring that she was taking bullets. Just absolute insanity. And now we're inside of Okabe's head, running to the radio building. I'm assuming he heard all the gunfire and all that, probably. Anyway, let's just get into it. Oh my gosh. It's okay. Don't panic. There's still time. There's nothing to worry about. Suzuha's just fine. And before long, Mayuri will show up at the lab like nothing happened. So maybe he didn't hear then. When I reached the radio building, I realized that many people in the crowd of pedestrians were holding their phones up to the sky. There was evidently no service near the station either. I took a moment to catch my breath as I looked up at the radio building. I could hear what sounded like a distant explosion. Oh, there it is. It wasn't just one. The explosions were coming in a series. Several of the people around me were glancing at their surroundings, confused by the unfamiliar sounds. And then I realized that was gunfire. I remembered the sounds I'd heard during the battle between CERN's rounders and the Russian military. The sounds were coming from the roof of the radio building. Had I not made it in time? Suzuha! I ran into the radio building. Oh, he's gonna get right in the middle of all that. For some reason, the elevator was under maintenance and turned off. I had no choice but to take the stairs. My heart was pounding so fast that I thought it would burst, and I tripped several times due to how tense I was. I stumbled again and again on the stairs. How many times had I come up these stairs feeling like this? Cursing my lack of endurance, I headed for the top floor. When I got to the 7th floor, I ran into someone I'd hoped I wouldn't see. No, my guess that I'd run into them was right. I wished that I wasn't, but Dr. Leskinen! Hello, Lintalo. I didn't expect to see you here so early. Dr. Leskinen seemed perturbed when he saw my face. What are you doing here? Calm down for a moment. We can't talk when you're out of breath like that, can we? What are you doing here? What happened to Amadeus? The sampling test I asked you to perform ended 6 months ago. I can't tell you that. That was his answer. Even though Amadeus had disappeared, Leskinen was extremely calm. There was no sign of him trying to deal with the problem, and instead of being in his office, he was here. That was all I needed to know. Yep, he's evil in this timeline, so he is evil. I wonder if he's evil, like, because we're not in the true ending yet, but I just, see, right from the beginning, I called it from, like, episode 2, when I first saw his face, I'm like, oh, that's the bad guy right there. That's the villain. That's the villain, you can't trick me. Obviously, he looked like a villain. He act like a villain. I already knew it, dude. Oh my gosh. So the message Kudit sent me was true, wasn't it? The father that she'd spoken of was Leskinen after all. What happened to Kudits and Maho? You're trying to analyze their memory data to extract the information on the time machine, aren't you? Well, that's a surprise. Kudits told you all that? I thought I was keeping an eye on her. I wonder when she did it. Leskinen seemed truly shocked, which meant he hadn't noticed that Kudits was an at-channeler, or that she'd spoken to me there. Oh no! And then, Leskinen took out a gun and pointed it at me. It seems you've learned a little too much. Just who are you? A scientist. But science isn't a charity, you see. Are you aware of an American civilian intelligence company called Strategic Focus? Strategic Focus? The American company? Stratfor? I'd read about them on a conspiracy theory website. I remembered reading that they'd acquired top-secret information on Russia ballistic missiles that even the CIA couldn't get, and then sold it. The result was the destruction of the CIA's reputation. And, at the same time, the total reorganization of Russia's military strategy. I'd even heard rumors that during the Gulf and Iraq wars, they'd obtained information about the warring countries faster than anyone, and spread it as needed. The world governments supposedly called them the Shadow CIA. So was he going to use Amadeus for military purposes? Was everything he'd said at that seminar just platitudes and lies? Well, I don't think I'm the one who's important here, am I? Anyway, Lintalo, I heard something from Katsumi. You have the new encephalitis too, don't you? In fact, you seem to know something about how it works. That's very interesting. Would you be willing to offer that information to me? All you have to do is undergo a simple procedure, like in the first route, and I'll be happy to hire you as my assistant. For some reason, my whole body broke out in goosebumps at the word procedure. The Dr. Leskinen I knew, the man with the childlike, mischievous heart and deep scientific curiosity, the man who'd been so kind to me, the man I'd respected, was gone. In his place was the cruel scientific fundamentalist, who thought nothing of human lives or hearts as he pointed a gun at me. Or was this who he truly was? Suddenly, he seemed like a terrifying unknown. "How about it?" He took a step toward me. And then... Oh! Another fierce gunfight broke out above. Leskinen clicked his tongue at the sound. He glanced towards the stairs. "Why am I hearing gunfire? I told them so many times to handle this peacefully." Ah! I took advantage of the distraction. Luckily, I was still on the staircase. I tackled his legs as hard as I could, and he lost his balance and fell. Gah! He hit his head hard on one of the steps, and after a moment's jerk, stopped moving at all. Oh, dang! He might be dead, but I didn't care anymore. I'd become a murderer many times over already. Yo! When I opened the door, what I saw was a vision from the heart of hell itself. There was blood everywhere, and bodies too. What is this? In the middle of the sea of blood was a girl in a motorcycle suit and helmet, covered in crimson as she lay on the ground. She held a giant cleaver. I wish he would have grabbed his gun. I wish he would have grabbed his gun. I know he didn't grab his gun, and he's gonna wake up, and he's gonna walk up behind him and grab him or something and shoot someone. He's gonna kill someone. Frick, he didn't grab his gun. I could see instantly that she was responsible for this disaster. Her shoulders moved up and down a little, so evidently, she was still alive. I approached the woman, trying my best not to throw up from the stench. Oh, frick.
Are you okay, Mommy?
I could hear her voice from beneath the cracked, broken helmet. I looked closer and saw that some of the blood was her own. Her body was racked with bullet wounds, and her left hand was completely gone. It was a miracle that she had somehow survived all that. She didn't seem to notice me as she slowly crawled through the blood. I followed her gaze and saw Mayuri huddled beneath the time machine. Suzuha seemed to be unhurt, but there was blood on Mayuri's face. Mayuri! I hadn't expected to see her here, and I was worried about her wound, but more than anything, I was glad she was safe. She raised her face when she heard my voice, but the next moment, her eyes locked on the girl in the motorcycle suit.
No!
She saw the thing crawling toward her and screamed.
Huh? Mommy. Mommy. This isn't what it looks like. Kagari didn't want to kill anyone. I just wanted to protect you.
Kagari? Did she say Kagari? It was only then that I realized that the girl in the motorcycle suit was the Kagari Shina that Suzuha had been looking for.
I'm sorry, Mommy.
Kagari, that's enough! Suzuha yelled, unable to take any more. Don't move anymore! You'll die!
Kagari didn't want to scare you. Really. I mean it. I just had to save you. So please don't hate me. I'm sorry, Mommy. Forgive me.
At last, her strength failed, and she collapsed. I returned to my senses and ran to her before Suzuha could get there. Hey! Are you okay? Her breathing was wheezy and shallow. One of the bullets had probably pierced her lungs. I thought taking off her helmet would help her breathe, so I put my hand on it to remove it, but she grabbed my hand and pushed it away.
No, don't. Don't take it. Not in front of Mommy and Big Sis Suzuha. Please, Okabe.
Her voice, and the way she talked, I realized who this girl called Kagari Shina was. I looked close and saw I recognized her face. No. You're... But why?
Uncle Okarin! Is Kagari okay?
What the frick? Stay back! I quickly motioned to Suzuha to keep her distance. That was Yuki! I just saw the eyes! I was like, wait, I saw the hair, I was like, whose hair looks like that? I couldn't figure it out. And then I saw the eyes, the blue eyes! It's Yuki! I freaking knew it! I knew it! I knew it was Yuki! I freaking knew it!
I freaking knew it! I'm so freaking smart! I'm so freaking smart, dude! It was freaking Yuki! Bro! She was experimented on! She was working with freaking Leskinen! I freaking knew it this whole freaking time! I knew the other time when she's like, oh, the freaking van came and she ran to the van. I'm like, that's freaking bullcrap! Freaking bullcrap! I knew it! Gosh dang it! They tried to trick me, but I freaking knew it! Gosh dang it, then where's Kagari? I knew that couldn't be her too, because I'm like, Kagari can't be in two places at once. In the, what was that, the second route, I think? Oh, I'm so smart, dude. My freaking brain, dude. I have so many brain cells, dude. You don't even understand right now. I just spit all the frick over my freaking pop filter. I don't freaking give a crap, dude. I'm so freaking smart. I'm so proud of myself right now, okay? Gosh dang it. I knew it. Oh my gosh, it didn't hit me until after. I had to see Suzuha's face for it to click. And I was like, blue eyes, who has blue eyes? Oh, and it just like hit me all at once. Gosh dang it. Man, I'm such a five-head, dude. My brain is so freaking wrinkly. You will never see me eat crayons, dude. Imagine me eating crayons. You can't. It's impossible. You can't. Okay? This audio is gonna freaking suck because I just been screaming at like 2 inches away from the mic this whole time. I don't freaking care, dude. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm moving on now. I quickly motioned to Suzuha to keep her distance. Leave her to me. You take care of Mayuri. Is she okay? Check for me. She looked upset, but did as I asked. She went back to Mayuri and started to look at her wounds. Mayuri was covering her face and trying not to look at the bodies. It's okay. It's not deep.
I relaxed a little when I heard that. Oh, gosh dang it.
I'm so glad. You're safe, Mommy.
Kagari's voice was a whisper as I cradled her in my arms. Wait, what? No, huh? Wait, no, that's... No, it's a... Huh? Is that Kagari? Wait a minute. There's no way that's Is that Kagari? Is it actually? But the hair and the eyes, it looks like Yuki. Wait, what the frick? But she knows it's Kagari, doesn't she? Doesn't she know it's Kagari? Because Suzuha knows it's Kagari. That's Yuki, isn't it? That's Yuki? Is that not Yuki? I mean, Kagari had blue eyes too, but the hair, dude! The hair! It's like that like really light blonde. Am I... Okay, I'm just gonna keep moving forward. Please don't let me be wrong. Come on, man! And then she slowly closed her eyes. Her breathing got weaker. Hang in there! Why? Why are you...
It's okay. Don't worry. Even like this, I don't suffer or feel pain. I always hear the voice of God.
It is Kagami! Huh? Is it just the freaking mask, the shield in her face? What the frick? Why does her hair's like freaking white? Where the frick is Yuki? I thought... You're gonna have to disregard the last, 3 minutes of rant that I just said there. It never happened, actually. It's not even gonna be in the video. Actually, it's neither is this. You won't have any idea what I'm talking about right now. Just don't worry about it, okay? I knew the whole time it was Kagami. Never once doubted it for a second. Totally fine. It's all right. We're just gonna move on from there. I totally knew it though. It's totally fine. That was someone else actually. It wasn't me. I think for a second, I think for a second, the feed got cut off, and someone else got their audio, like radio waves. You know how that works sometimes. I think it got like intermingled. So don't worry about whatever you may have heard. It's fine.
He tells me that it doesn't hurt, that I don't feel the pain. So I'm just... I'll tell you, Okabe. The real one doesn't know anything. She's been in Europe on an exchange program for 3 years.
The real one? The real huh?
The professor manipulated things behind the scenes to send me to Akihabara. The real one doesn't know anything.
The professor? Did she mean...
In this world line, Hashida and the real one will meet next year.
Oh, wait, the real one? Okay, what the frick? Okay, they keep using her name Kagami, but now he's saying the real one. What the frick do you mean? It's Yuki, yes? I'm correct? Am I correct? Why? What is this? Is it a translation error? You're either making me look really freaking smart or really dumb, okay? And I don't appreciate one of them, okay? I don't appreciate you making me potentially look like a fool, okay? I will not be the goon here, okay? It's freaking... I am the one who's smart, okay? Frick. So he is taught... This is Yuki. Why didn't it switch it to Yuki then? Why does it still say Kagami, and why is it still saying in his own words Kagami? What the frick? Hello? Did that not just get translated over? It's Yuki. It is. It's gotta be. Because it's saying the real one. The real one got transferred to freaking, Europe, right? Yes? Or Hashida will meet the real one, right? They will meet next year. That has to be Yuki. Why would he meet Kagami? He didn't know Kagami. There's a translation error. There's something going on here, okay? There is some buffoonery afoot, okay? That's all I'm gonna say. That's Yuki. Look at the face. That's Yuki. Kagami opened her eyes a little once more and looked toward the time machine, toward Mayuri and Suzuha.
It's okay. I'm sure the real one will love Hashida too.
It is Yuki! It's just a translation error! You tried to trick me! Freaking... See, this is why I should have went with the freaking Committee of Zero freaking patch translation dude, but I already had started playing the freaking game. I didn't want to go back. I didn't want to switch, because apparently it can break your game. It said it could break your saves, and I didn't want that. So I was gonna do it like toward the beginning of this playthrough, and I didn't. But freaking, you tried to freaking. You're lucky I have eyes. You're lucky I'm freaking so smart, dude. Okay, frick. That's Yuki. It just didn't change it over. Gosh, dang it. Okay, sorry. This is a moment for me, okay? I built up to this. There's so many episodes, okay? This has been basically a whole year that I've been building up to this, and I came up with this theory somewhere like halfway or a little bit before, I think halfway through the freaking Let's Play, okay? This is important to me, I'm sorry.
Just like I did.
Yeah, so she was. Okay. Yup, so she was she a clone? What is this? Huh? Oh my gosh. I know I'm ruining this it's actually a really sad moment. I'm sorry, I'm kind of ruining it. But like, okay, so wait, so let's just back up for a sec. So the real Yuki is in Europe right now. This Yuki, is she a clone? Because she looks like Suzuha. Or is she just someone else that Leskinen put freaking someone else's memories into? I don't understand what's going on. I don't understand. That's why she said I don't know what to do or I don't know how to feel or whatever she said to Suzuha. That's what that means. This is absolutely 100% Yuki. That's what that meant. Oh my gosh. Yeah, remember she said that? Because after they went and they were trying to have a date, and then Suzuha was spying on them, and then they caught her, and then they had an eating contest, and then she took freaking Suzuha aside afterwards after Daru went home, and Suzuha asked if she liked if Yuki liked Daru, and she said, I don't know what to feel or I don't know what to do, because she said, please take care of him or whatever, because I'm going away. Remember? Gosh, it is, but is she a clone or what the frick?
I said it. Don't tell anyone. Okay?
Oh. Dude, that's freaking sad. And this time, her smile still shining in her eyes. They closed for real. With one final shudder, the strength left her body. Her life faded away in my hands. There was so much I wanted to ask her. Why had she appeared before us using that name? There were so many things I didn't understand. But Kagari Shina's life ended in that moment. See, it keeps saying Kagari Shina. What the frick? I don't understand! I think I'm right because of the way she's talking. It's Yuki, but it keeps saying Kagari. I don't understand.
Uncle Okarin! Is Kagari okay?
I came back to my senses when I heard her voice. If I told her about Kagari's death, it would cause her a lot of mental stress. That wasn't a good idea. Right now, I needed to do something about the time machine as fast as possible. She's okay. I'll take her to a hospital. I slung Kagari's bloody body around my shoulder and stood up. You shut down the time machine and hide it. The cops will be coming. It's too late. I freaking knew it! You needed to take his gun! I told you! This is a stupid dumb trope they do in action movies all the freaking time. They don't kill the freaking guy when they should have, or they at least don't take his freaking weapon. Ever. They always just move on. Why? It doesn't make sense, dude. What the frick? What? Before I could open up the door, a huge shadow appeared from within. Professor! He wasn't dead? This music bumping, though. But he must have taken a lot of damage to the head, because his face was the color of clay, and one of his eyes wasn't focusing. Oh my gosh! This will be a war zone soon. America, Russia, and Japan have all started to move. Once the gears start turning, you can't stop them. If Kagari had only told us sooner, things wouldn't have gotten this bad. So, was that Kagari inside of Yuki's body? Is that what that was? Did they overwrite Kagari with freaking... Or overwrite Yuki with Kagari's memories? Is that what happened? Is that why I kept saying Kagari, but it was Yuki's face? So really, Kagari was actually Yuki in the real timeline? Like, because we've seen Kagari up to this point. We've seen her actual, like, grown-up 22-year-old self, but we never saw her in this route thus far, right? So far, it's been a girl that's been completely... she's had a mask on, right, the whole time. We never got to see her face, but she was acting like Kagari, so she has the memories of Kagari, but she was actually Yuki and pretending to be Yuki to us. Gosh dang it, so she was a spy. She was a freaking traitor this whole time, I think. Am I right? I think I'm right. That makes sense to me. I could see that happening. So the real Yuki, freaking... But no, but the body would have to be a clone still, though, if the real Yuki's somewhere else, right? I don't understand, man. That's gotta be it. The real Yuki or whatever has to be someone else. It has to be, because freaking Suzuha should know what she looks like, right? She should know that wasn't actually Yuki if it's not a clone. I don't understand what's going on. I'm freaking out right now, dude. I'm sorry. You'll have to forgive me on this episode, dude. Okay, because I'm not moving the story forward because I'm trying to figure this out. I'm sorry, I'll just keep going, but gosh dang it, what is happening? Leskinen knew about Kagari? Which meant that I was right. But Suzuha spoke before I could. I see. So you're the professor. You're the one who brainwashed Kagari, aren't you? Is that true? Is that the kind of person you are? I, myself, haven't done anything. Leskinen didn't try to deny it. 10 years ago, I found a helpless girl on the streets and helped her so she could grow up like this. Oh my gosh! Yeah, so that ties into the third route's freaking her running away. I think that was in the third route where he found her on the street, right? It said professor, that was her. Gosh darn it. Or wait, was it? Because that wasn't a little version of her, right? But no, but that was him probably getting her back. Probably, yep. Gosh dang it. So I'm still confused about the Kagari Yuki thing. Hopefully that'll smooth its way out. I'm just gonna move on for now. Helped her? This never would have happened if she'd led a normal life! Could you not yell like that? My head is killing me. I'm telling the truth. She made contact with me. It was her plan to get plastic surgery and infiltrate this city. What? Plastic surgery? So she is Yuki, but she just looked exactly... Okay, wait a freaking second here, wait a minute. Hold on, I gotta sit up for this one. You're about to tell me right now, you're about to tell me little 10-year-old Kagari came up with the plan, because she did, okay, I'll buy it though, because she said she heard the voice of God, right? Started doing these crazy moves, right? She was a crazy ninja with Suzuha. Freaking almost shot her, freaking fled from the time machine. Ran to Dr. Leskinen and asked to get plastic surgery to look like Yuki so that she would grow up to look like Yuki and infiltrate this city so that she could get in with our group to freaking, I don't know, what, try to figure out the time machine stuff or something? So now we have to figure out who the voice of God is, right? Because she even just said right there, when God tells me that I don't feel pain, I don't feel pain. So someone is controlling her. The voice of God is someone who is actively saying things to her brain and brainwashing her. Is that what you're telling me right now? Something along that line? What is happening, bro? Evidently, the voice of God in her head tells her everything she needs to do. At first, I thought she was a homeless girl making up stories in hopes of getting food. But when I examined her brain and her memories, I found something very interesting and wonderful. This God she spoke of. And even as his face twisted in pain, he smiled proudly. This God she spoke of, it was me, from the year 2036. Oh my gosh! That's what. Okay, it connects now. Holy crap! He brainwashed her now so that she would... wait, frickin'... Huh? Wait, okay. Hold up. So he would have had to have gotten her in the future, brainwashed her then, knew that she was gonna go with Mayuri or something, and then get sent back in time? Wow, okay. Okay, I'll buy it though. That's crazy. That's freaking crazy. You're a real mad scientist. What the frick? Suddenly, I heard a siren down below. Just hearing the sound made me feel uneasy. I'd never heard a sound like it before. What is this? This is guerrilla attack information. Repeat, guerrilla attack information. A guerrilla attack may occur in this area. Please get indoors and obtain further information from radio or television broadcasts. I heard that announcement coming from the speakers on the street. A guerrilla attack? Oh, frick. I could hear several helicopters in the sky above me. Dude, this is just freaking escalating. It's just constant. It's just going. It keeps going, dude. It doesn't stop, bro. My freaking adrenaline, dude. I'm gonna be freaking shaking after this, bro. Their engines were clearly more powerful than the ones in the media's news choppers. I'd recognized the sounds from the time I'd spent in the wartime world line. I told you, didn't I? There's about to be a war over the time machine right here. The Third World War is about to begin? I'm sure the people here have no idea a world war is about to begin in the middle of their city. And then Leskinen leaned up against a wall, sat down, and stopped moving. Whether he'd passed out or gone into a coma from the brain damage, I didn't have time to find out. It was like the air in the city had gotten heavier. That's how it felt. A chill ran down my spine. I'd spent a month at war in that world line. And the same future was about to begin here. Something like that couldn't happen in Japan. It was like a TV show or a movie. But I knew instinctively that this wasn't fiction. There had been signs since 6 months ago. Here, in Akihabara, in Tokyo, in Japan. Spies and soldiers from all around the world had been working in the shadows. So I'd known this would happen. By refusing Suzuha's request and choosing the world line where Mayuri survived, I'd doomed over 5 billion people. This sounds like this is going to be the end of this route, and it should move into the true ending, though. So I have a feeling that in the other, like if we hadn't done the route previously, it would just end sadly here or something, probably, right? But we're going to get some information that moves us forward. That's probably what's going to happen. I was the one who chose this. It was me.
Uncle Okarin!
I looked and saw that Suzuha was pushing Mayuri into the time machine.
We're going to have to jump to the past.
What?
Take care of Kagari.
Suzuha had no idea that Kagari was already dead. She leapt into the cockpit. I raced over and grabbed onto the hatch, then looked inside. You can't mean a year ago. You're going back there? So suddenly?
It's not sudden, and we're not going back there.
She was tapping commands into the console as she spoke. What? What do you mean you're not going back there?
I'm borrowing Big Sis Mayu for a little.
Mayuri was already strapped into a seat. Just like I was when I jumped a year ago with Suzuha. Mayuri, you...
Okarin.
I heard fierce gunfire and screams in the distance. It looked like some of the spies had started fighting each other. Kagari may have just wiped out a force from one nation, but an army from an entirely different one was still coming.
Oh, Karin. Here.
Mayuri handed me a smartphone. I took it without thinking.
I can't get signal, so I'll give this to you, okay? Read the message. It'll tell you how Mayushi feels.
Wait! Why are you going? If you go, it won't change anything. You can't do anything. And if you go, you won't be able to come back.
No! It can't be you who does it, Okarin. This is Mayushi's job.
I don't understand. I don't know what you're talking about. Please, get out of the time machine, Mayuri. If you leave the wheel of causality, then I won't even know why I chose this world line.
Okarin.
Mayuri gently rubbed my cheek, and she smiled sadly. She softly pushed my shoulder. Oh! It threw me off balance and made me let go of the hatch. Then the hatch closed. Mayuri! Wait! It was too late. By the time I grabbed back on, the hatch was sealed shut. The door controls were biometric. Only Suzuha could open it now. The time machine started to roar. A pale light began to gather around it. I'd seen this before, in the Alpha World line. Why? Mayuri! Oh, frick! Just then, a group of armed men kicked open the door and swarmed onto the roof. They were highly trained military operatives. And then an attack helicopter descended from the skies. Oh my gosh! The soldiers started to shoot at it, but the helicopter seemed to ignore them as it slowly hovered in place. I realized the powerful rocket launchers on either side of its body were aimed at me. No, at the time machine. It couldn't be. No. Don't. But my worst fears were realized. Oh, frick! The helicopter fired its rockets. They headed straight for the time machine. It was still there, shrouded in light. No! The second I yelled, a powerful blast blew me back. The next thing I knew, I was crawling on the ground. I saw that some of the soldiers had already joined the mountain of corpses on the ground, and some of them were still shooting at the helicopter. I stood up as fast as I could. My whole body felt like it was on fire. My skin was burnt in places. My clothes had been blasted off. No, my own problems didn't matter. What about the time machine? I looked up toward where the time machine had been. If it had jumped in time, it should have been able to avoid the rockets. But... Oh! There were scraps of metal everywhere. I could tell they belonged to the time machine. Had I not made it in time? Suzuha? Mayuri? I looked around in the cloud of smoke. Mayuri? Where are you? Mayuri! Suzuha! Answer me! There were bodies everywhere, but I couldn't see Mayuri or Suzuha. I couldn't even tell if they were alive or dead. There were no bodies. They'd simply vanished. After that, things went far beyond my power to control. Brutal battles took place on the ground and in the sky of Akihabara. I'd seen footage of war in the Middle East on the news. Those same scenes were playing out in Akihabara. I managed to slip through the chaos of the battle and barely escaped the radio building with my life. I had no choice but to leave Kagari's body. I took the long way back to the lab so that no one would find me. By the time I arrived, the sun had set and the night sky was illuminated with explosions and tracer rounds. The whole of Akihabara was like someone had poked a beehive. The lights were out at the lab, but inside I found Daru, Maho, and Faris staring at the TV and computer monitor. Okarin!
Okabe! I'm so glad you're safe. Wait! You're hurt! Are you okay?
Did you get caught up in the fighting?
First aid! Quick!
I didn't have the energy to answer them. I looked toward the footage on the TV screen. The reporter was wearing a bulletproof vest and a hard hat. He was screaming at the top of his lungs, trying to drown out the reporters from the other stations. It's like a war zone! The area around Akihabara Station and Center Street have been cut off. US and SDF helicopters and tanks are... Oh, just now, I heard another huge explosion! Is this really Japan? I feel like I'm reporting on a civil war! The government says that it's terrorism, but I can't imagine... And then a stray shot from an anti-material rifle, fired by a special forces team from some country or another, struck the news van's engine and blew it up. Ah! It exploded! There's been an explosion! Are you trying to get killed? Get out of here! This is war! You're going to die! An SDF soldier forced his way onto the screen and yelled at the media to run away. A war? With who? Heck if I know. Okay, first off, I gotta chill for a second. Mayuri and Suzuha disappeared. There was no remnant of them. I'm sorry, I was kind of in shock from that. I just kind of moved on. But that means that they went, right? But reading Steiner didn't go off. So what does that mean? Did they go or didn't they? What the frick? Just after that, I heard another explosion and the video was cut off. Did they take a direct hit? Everyone fell silent.
It's dangerous here, too. I can't go home.
The net's in an uproar. Hey, Okarin, where's Suzuha? And did you find Mayushi? Suzuha and Mayuri are... Suzuha and Mayuri either went back to the past, or they're dead. What? Daru stormed up to me, infuriated. What do you mean? Which is it? An attack helicopter fired a rocket launcher at the time machine. It was destroyed. Suzuha and Mayuri were aboard. They were about to go back to the past. I saw some pieces of the time machine left, but it wasn't everything. And Daru, I looked and looked, But I couldn't find Suzuha and Mayuri's bodies anywhere. Not even a piece. It was like they'd vanished without a trace. Do you think they made it back to the past? The tears I'd tried so hard to hold back came pouring out. Daru fell to his knees. Faris and Maho were staring at me, eyes wide in shock. Dang it! Dang it! Dang it! Daru slammed his fist into the floor. This can't be happening! It can't! I tried to wipe away my tears and realized I was holding something in my right hand. It was the cell phone that Mayuri had given me. She'd told me to read the message on it. It wasn't locked. I opened the mail folder. There were several unsent messages addressed to her friends and family. One of them was addressed to me. Was this what she wanted me to read? I'm just so into it right now. I'm sorry. I have no commentary. I'm just so into it. I'm sorry. I went on a rant before for the other part. I'm trying to be quiet now. This is too much. There's a lot to take in. With shaking fingers, I tapped the screen to open the message. What the frick?
Dear Okarin, da-da-doo! It's Mayushi. I knew I should probably tell you this face to face, but I wasn't sure if I could say it right, and I wasn't sure what I'd do if you tried to stop me, so I decided to send a message instead. I'm going back to the past with Suzu. You're probably mad, and you want to know why, right? But it's something that I have to do. You see, I was the one who hid my hikaboshi. My strong hikaboshi, who always got back up and laughed no matter how bad things were. I was the one who hid him beyond the dark clouds. I was wrong. No one was trying to make you save the future all by yourself. You've got Daru, and Suzu, and Luca, and Faris, and Yuki, and now Maho. So this time, it's my turn. This is my first big mission as lab member 002. I'm sure you're worried, but I'll be fine. And even if something happens, I know you'll come to save me.
Oh!
The Heroine Kiyoma I love will come riding in on a new time machine he made and save the day. I know it. So I'm going. I promise I'll come back. I'll come back to you. So just wait for me a little, okay? I love you, Heroine Kiyoma.
Oh my gosh!
But you know, I love Dintaro Okabe even more.
Oh! Oh my gosh! This is too much, dude. This is too much emotion. Oh my gosh. Mayuri. You forgot, didn't you? You're my hostage. You can't be my hostage if you go away. You want me to come save you if something happens? What kind of hostage are you? The mad scientist of madness would never go to save you. To save you. You're an idiot. But I'm a bigger idiot. My heart was in pain. It hurt so much. It was just like after I'd killed Kudets. Maybe I'd be better off if I just fell over and died. I would do anything to be released from this pain. but in the corner of my tear-blurred vision, I saw it. Haowen Kiyoma's final weapon. His last hope. No! It was the thing that had brought me so many nightmares. I staggered to the development room and threw off the cardboard that was covering it. There it was. The phone wave, named subject to change, Unit 02. The thing that Maho and Daru had been working on behind my back. If I could complete this... I turned around, wiped away my tears, and saw my friends looking depressed in the middle of the darkened room. You said you didn't know how to make a time leap machine, right? Will you do what I tell you? I'll give you the answer that Kudet's discovered. And then we'll activate the time machine. Maho said the one thing she didn't know was how to compress the memory data, which means that everything else was finished. And I knew how to complete it. Daru was the first to nod. I'm in. Tell us, Okarin.
I'll help too. It's settled, Nia.
All three responded with no hesitation. They turned toward me and spoke their answers clearly. All right. Daru, I want you to hack CERN. We'll need to remote control the LHC. We'll use that to compress the memory data down to 36 bytes. That's small enough to send back to the past.
Just 36 bytes?
You could tell she was a scientist by the way her face went pale at the number. But sometimes this thing doesn't work right. Sometimes it's just a normal microwave. It's the 42-inch CRT in the Brontube workshop. The phone wave named subject to change only works when it's turned on.
The CRT TV? Oh, so that's it!
Just the words CRT were enough for her to figure it out. The life was coming back to their eyes.
Then we may be able to finish it after all. But even if we can finish it, are you going to start using it now? We can't run human trials without doing anything else first.
You're not confident in what you built?
But...
Kudet's did it already. In another world line.
That's because she's Kudet's. I can't be her.
You saw Kudet's message on @channel, right?
What?
I always regarded myself as an essentially ordinary intellect. Tell her that she was always the person I wanted to be. Tell her that I can't read the rest. Lastly, I'd like you to pass a message to the person I respect the most. Oh, right here. I always regarded myself as an essentially ordinary intellect. And you were always the person I wanted to be. You were the real Amadeus. Oh. Wholesome. You got Kudet's to say that, and now you're going to run away?
I'm not running away. Don't underestimate me.
I nodded back and smoothed back my hair, which had been muzzed by the explosion.
Kiyoma! Here!
Vadas brought me my white lab coat, which had been hanging for ages on the wall in the development room. I bit down on my lip and wiped away the tears one more time. I took the lab coat and slipped my arms through the sleeves. Let's go! I spun around so that the hem of the coat flew up and stood triumphantly in the center of the lab just as I used to. And then I declared in a loud voice, "We will now complete the phone wave named subject to change, Unit 02, and perform a time leap. Lend me your aid." This time, I'm never giving up! I looked at Daru and Faris, and finally at Maho. Even if I fail the first dozen times, or the first 100 times, I'll try again 1,000 times, 1,000,000 times, or 1,000,000,000 times! I'll save them all. Suzuha, Mayuri, and Kuritsu too! And this is the first step. For the first time in a year, I was back to my old self. Let's go, baby! My friends saw me and nodded, their faces filled with resolve. It took almost 2 full days to finish work on the phone wave. Meanwhile, the chaos in Akihabara continued, and it wasn't safe to go outside. Working on the time leap machine while knowing that the battles might reach us at any minute, or that a special forces team might burst in at any time, was a hard job that wore on my nerves. But still, we managed to finish the machine somehow. I jumped. Let's go!